Good evening, everyone. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to the first TecSocial for 2014. 2014. Okay, I guess that's right. Apparently, Bob and TecSocial forgot to pay the bill last time, so we got the small room. But it's chilly outside, so we'll be cozy, and that's good. I'd like to just take a moment. My name's Steve Duff. I'm President and CEO with InnovaCorp, and I'd just like to take a moment to welcome some important folks that have joined us this evening. First, I'd like to recognize Dr. Jackie Thayer-Scott, the chair of the board for InnovaCorp. Welcome this evening, Jackie. Robert McCharles is also with us this evening. Robert is a director at InnovaCorp and also chairs our investment committee. And Marlene Usher is also joining us this evening from ECBC. Welcome. So you probably by now, most of you have probably heard that the province of Nova Scotia this morning announced that they will be undertaking a review under the guidance of Dr. Tom Travis, who's the former president of Dalhousie University, undertaking a review of economic development programs offered by the province of Nova Scotia. So, and they want to get that study done by the end of February. So Bob, Marlene, and I quickly scrummed this morning and said, we better roll this thing out tonight before that gets too busy. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Bob Pelly to do the reveal this evening. Bob?
Thanks, Steve. If only it were so easy. If you want to tell your friends about anything that's happening here tonight, and you want to use Twitter, make sure you use the hashtag TecSocial, and our handle is TecSocialCB, so please feel free to share. At a TecSocial in March 2006, in this very building, just across the hall, InnovaCorp launched a pilot program called I3, and we knew that there was lots of innovation in Cape Breton, and it needed some encouragement, and we tried an experiment, and that experiment that we called I3, it worked. I3 has, since that lowly pilot in 2006, it's been rolled out province-wide across 5 zones. We do that competition now every 2 years. It's been encouraging entrepreneurship in every corner of the province, and we're actually in the midst of running I3 right now, and in the current competition we had 228 submissions province-wide. 28. Oh, come on in. 28 of those were in Cape Breton. Since we've started I3 in 2006, we've had a whopping 642 submissions to the I3 competition, with very little repeat on a year-over-year basis. So we're seeing growing numbers of submissions, and the submissions are getting stronger each and every year. We're also really big believers in the lean startup methodology, and we follow it ourselves. And in fact, you get an idea, you build it, you've got a product, test it, you measure, you get some data, you learn, you improve, and you start the cycle. And the whole idea is that you try to make this as quick and rapid as possible. That methodology really helped us to develop I3. And now, with our partners, we've got a new idea to try based on many of the conversations that we've had with potential customers, across Cape Breton Island. And we've been having those, interestingly enough, right from day one. As soon as I3 got off the ground, that's when people started saying, "This is great. We love it, but we need more." So we've actually been working on this little project since 2007. And the reason why is because capital is really critical for innovative startup companies. They need it to get through this valley of death here that is deadly, but oh so critical to anybody. And I see some startup founders in the room chuckling to themselves at that notion that it's a valley of death. But believe me, it is. The whole notion of funding for early stage companies has really become a focus of ours at InnovaCorp, and to find and support those most promising companies. And we've noticed that in Cape Breton there is a lack of risk capital at that early stage. If we look at, again, those 5 stages across the top here, and if we look at locally available capital for business, there are a number of sources of available capital. But what you'll notice is that on that left-hand side, there's a gap, a pretty significant gap for those really early stage companies as they get started, to create that prototype and kind of get that ball rolling. There is, you may have heard a lot about the new venture capital ecosystem across the region, and InnovaCorp is a part of that for sure. We've been working to support that. However, the creation of this regional venture capital pool is really at the high end. It's supporting the high growth in the later stage companies. At the entry level, particularly here in Cape Breton, we need more activity. The need for greater entrepreneurship is key. It's been identified in the Cape Breton Island Integrated Strategic Framework for Economic Prosperity that was rolled out by the Cape Breton Partnership. And it's coming up everywhere. Entrepreneurship is important, and it needs to be supported. We deal primarily with at the early stage with seed deals here, and most of the companies that we would deal with at that stage have prototypes, and they're starting to show some signs of customer traction. There hasn't been a lot of venture capital activity in Cape Breton. Those that have been involved and have won the I3 competition. So what do we need? Well, if we really want to change that needle, we need a bit of a spark to really get things going, to really move the needle. Once that ball gets rolling, companies that are formed can then either move into I3 ESCF. Ideally, they've got a product developed and they can actually sell product directly to customers, or reach out to other more readily available supplies of capital. So tonight, I'm pleased to announce with our partners at InnovaCorp, Enterprise Cape Breton Corporation, the Nova Scotia Department of Economic and Rural Development and Tourism, that we've partnered to run a pilot program that we call Spark Cape Breton. I'd like to ask Marlene to come up and say a few words, if you wouldn't mind.
Thanks, Bob. Spark Cape Breton, I like the name. Bob and I got together, probably Bob, almost 2 years ago, really, and started talking about innovation and startups. And obviously, both of those topics are high on our priority list. I don't think Enterprise Cape Breton Corporation is well known for its innovation capacity. I think most people, I know InnovaCorp is, and I think most people look to InnovaCorp, but I don't think ECBC is foremost on people's mind, although I look around the room and there are definitely people here that we've supported in the innovation file. Where we see sort of a lack of capacity is in the Atlantic Innovation Fund, of which we're part of that program. That program is a RFP process, and it's Atlantic-wide, and I can tell you that Cape Breton's take-up of it is extremely disappointing in the sense of pro rata share. We don't have the same capacity. We have had applications and we have had some success, but I think, you know, in terms of Bob's comments, like there isn't enough support, I don't think, to build that type of capacity. I think the university is well on its way in terms of helping in that area. The Center for Sustainability, the Sharon Center, I think will assist us greatly in building that type of capacity. They've recently hired some chairs. You look at Yava Technology and the good work that they're doing. I think that's a tremendous source of capacity for innovation and growth. So all that to say is we are very committed to this program. We're funding it at 50%. I think we're talking here today about a year program, but I'd go and be willing to publicly say that we are hoping to go much beyond 1 year, well into the future with this type of program, because I think the people that would use this program are not typically ones that we see come into the corporation looking for support. They need assistance at the very start, and typically, as the slide pointed out, we really don't support that type of program. So by partnering with Innovacorp, who in our view is a wonderful partner, who has that capacity, who has that in-house intelligence to inform and to develop and these types of projects, gives us sort of the impetus and the encouragement to be a full partner. So all that to say is that we are there today, and I'm hoping in 5 years we'll still be there. And I encourage folks to come in and see us. And if Spark doesn't fit your needs, well, maybe we have another program that does. And let's build on the success that we already have, and let's be optimistic for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Spark is, and then some of the mechanics, timeline, and how you apply. What is Spark? It's a community-based initiative to select, invest, and nurture what we're calling stage 0 companies. So right from that idea base to get things rolling. It's based on the successful models at Innovacorp of our I3 competition and our early stage commercialization fund, which is in post-secondary education institutions. For this pilot program, we have 4 awards of up to $50,000 cash. That's a non-dilutive investment, or dare I say it, grant, prize per company, based on the need of the company. So if we get a couple of companies that only need $25,000, then we can make more awards during this pilot. And of course, the idea is that we want to engage the community through a mentorship program and being involved with the companies as well. Eligibility. Entrants must be a Cape Breton, Mulgrave area-based startup with a focus on a new knowledge-based product or service. They have to be, the entrant has to be a majority owner based here in Cape Breton and plan to work full-time within the startup, again, within the Cape Breton, Mulgrave area. Our investment portfolio companies are not eligible. Similar for previous I3 competition prize winners, unless they have a new company or a new, something new. Similarly, since we're in the midst of the I3 competition right now, the 5 finalists that, and don't throw things, the 5 finalists that are in the in that final stages of the competition right now are also not eligible. Again, unless they've got a new company or a new product, and if you do, holy smokes, that would be quick. So specifically, again, head office is somewhere in the Cape Breton Mulgrave area. The business is or will be registered by the time that you get to round 2 to start the pitches. It is a startup business venture, and we don't define startup by length of time. It's all about revenue. And to really reinforce it, we're talking about 0 revenue, goose egg, no revenue at this point. So if you have any revenue, you're beyond what this program is intended for. And a new knowledge-based product or service. So it's The business proposition has to be a unique technology product or service that has broad market appeal that can't be easily duplicated. Judging criteria, pretty consistent with our I3 competition. We're looking at this early stage, knowledgeable people in the industry with previous management experience, a large growing international market, a high barrier to competitive entry from a competition perspective, and a credible plan, a good business plan that will help them to reach key milestones in the marketplace. Our judging panel, again, is pretty consistent with our I3 competition. We've got an entrepreneur, a business person, a lawyer, chartered accountant, an industrial technology advisor from NRC IRAP, who, thanks Steve Manley. We have a number of, because we, as Marlene mentioned, we plan on rolling this competition out. Yes, we have a pilot right now, but we want to see it continue onward. So for this pilot, we've spoken to more judges than we'll use immediately, but the idea is that we'll have them ready to go in the gate for version 2 and 3 and so on. There, of course, will be some representation from ECBC ECOA locally, myself at an Novacorp, and our President and CEO, Steve Duff. The timeline, we're launching it tonight, January 9th. Yay. The round 1 deadline for the submissions, which is a brief summary, is February 20th. So there's a little bit of time. Very similar process to the I3 competition. So if you have a startup and you've submitted something to I3, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Things will be very close to the I3 process. The round 2 shortlist will be notified by the 27th of February. So obviously there will be a lot of reading and consultation among judges between the 20th and the 27th. The shortlist pitch presentations and judging happens on March 18th. Winners announced on March 20th. Mentors assigned by the end of the month, and of course money is flowing by that time as well. There will also be at some point throughout the year, there will be a demo day where the companies who are winners in this competition will have an opportunity to showcase what they've developed, what they've built. And that's a big part of what we want to do to be accountable to the public. It's public funds, so let's show them what we've been able to build with this competition. Hopefully it's too big for TecSocial, and we'll have to have an actual day where we're showcasing some of the technologies that come out of this. How to enter? Very similar to the I3 competition process. You can download the information kit, and the application form is online at the Novacorp website. It's novacorp.ca/spark, and it should be live right now if you go to your smartphone and check it out. So the information kit is there. Basically answers some questions on the form, give you a summary, and submit it to us online by 5 o'clock on Thursday the 20th, and you're in the running. So we thought, we know there will be questions. We anticipated a few. How is Spark different from I3? Well, it's really intended as an earlier stage. It's really intended for an earlier stage company. Funds for Spark are intended to be used for building a prototype or a version 1 of a product, and to get that early stage company to market. What's the frequency? As Marlene mentioned, right now it's a one-time pilot, but our intent is to show success and get right back in the saddle and do it again. Ideally, we want to be doing this twice a year, where we'll do it in a fall and a winter type intake, where there's a regular rhythm of these things happening all the time. And why Cape Breton versus province-wide? Well, there are a number of reasons. First, there's an expressed need here in Cape Breton. People saw I3, they loved it, they want more. All of the economic development agencies through the integrated framework at the Cape Breton Partnership said we need more entrepreneurship, So there's a recognized need in the community. Also, great partners that have gotten together to make this happen. It couldn't have happened without the three organizations, ECBC, Economic Development, and Innovacorp coming together to make it happen. And of course, it's a pilot and a test initiative, so we want to keep it small and focused in a nice, tight area. So I'll now throw the floor open to any questions that you might have. Hopefully you won't try to stump me. Any questions? And we're going to be here for a while, so we don't have to answer them all right now if you're shy.
I have one for you, Bob.
Yeah, Sarah.
It comes from a meeting with some students at the university next week. So if a student group, let's say third-year students who would be going back to school in September but would be able to dedicate themselves full-time, let's say over the summer and then part-time during the year, would they be eligible to apply?
Absolutely. Yep,
so
absolutely.
Full-time doesn't mean a full year, obviously.
It's more about the commitment. If they can be committed to get it going, and it shows that there's a viability in a business that they want to remain committed to. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yep.
Does it have to be a tech idea?
Great question, Adrian. No, it does not have to be a tech idea. It has to be innovative, but it could be IT, might be oceans technology, might be life science. It could be anything. It should be innovation based, something that's knowledge based, innovation based, because that's the area that we play in, and it's the type of companies that we're most familiar with.
Well, would Stackabui be a good example of that?
Absolutely.
Innovative and
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
non-technical.
You know, it's a stackable fishing buoy, very innovative, patented technology, but for a very traditional industry. So yeah, innovation is everywhere. So we would encourage, if you've got an idea, at the very least you're going to get some feedback and you're going to get some encouragement, and certainly this time around, not everybody is going to get an award, but the idea is that through this process, and certainly the way it works with our early stage commercialization fund is people will apply, they'll get some feedback, and they're encouraged to work on it and come back again. And we see that quite regularly, and to the point where an idea becomes developed enough that it does get an award, and the idea then can get off and running. Keith.
I think we should really thank the partners, ECBC and OCOR and NERDT, because we've been responsive to a request that's been talked about for quite a while. I know Doug has, and Joe Manchescu has left, and Steve Lilly. There's been other renditions to push this thing forward, and it's really exciting now to see this come to fruition here in Cape Breton, and I think we'll have lots of success. So I think that's a really good next step for the whole entrepreneurship innovation sector. So
Absolutely.
we got one round of applause, but I think we should, after this session, make sure that people in this room show some support for the project, even if you're not submitting a proposal per se, but just get the word out that this is a good step for the sector.
Excellent points. Thank you. Well, let's wrap up the formal portion of the program, and we can move some chairs back and have
Where?
Okay, we'll stack them up and continue with the social part of the program. We do have a couple of door prizes tonight, so make sure you get your name in the business card box to get in the door prize draw. And I'll give you a chance to do that while I close out the video portion of the show here, and then we'll get on with the door prize. So again, thanks for coming, and we'll do the door prize momentarily.